Welcome to Layer the Alchemist, where we discuss all things heavy metal and hard rock. On today's episode, another in my series of milestone moments. These are moments in a band's career where maybe they change the direction of their sound, or maybe they release an album that goes on to set up a whole new subgenre of rock. So the band that I've picked for today is T-Rex and their 1971 album, Electric Warrior. This album is what many people would consider to be the first glam rock album. This was the sixth album from T-Rex, but before this, they were kind of a different, more folky kind of sound. And on this album, they changed their sound to this more electric and what would become glam rock. If you go back to some of my older videos, you'll hear me talk about glam rock in relation to the LA metal, hair metal scene, and about how a lot of those bands took a strong influence from the 70s glam rock bands. Other bands in this style that will come later after this album would be like The Sweet, especially their album Desolation Boulevard, maybe Mott the Hoople, Slade, David Bowie even sort of had moments, glam rock type moments, maybe around the Ziggy Stardust era of his band. But this is really kind of where it all gets started. And the main guy here in T-Rex is the late Mark Bolan. And Mark in the UK especially, and this band, they were very big in the UK. This album was a #1 album there. Mark Bolan was a celebrity, a pop star, if you will. Here in the States, T-Rex is most known for the song that's on this record, Bang a Gong, Get It On. But I don't think Mark Bolan had quite the status here in the States as he did over in the UK. The album was produced by Tony Visconti, who had also worked with David Bowie amongst a whole bunch of other bands. It features Mark Bolan on vocals and guitar, Mickey Finn on congas, Steve Curry on bass, and Bill Legend on drums. And the album is sort of fleshed out with a lot of other like string players, and there's some horns and stuff mixed in here and background vocals. So it's a really, really well-produced album. And before I started doing this video, in my mind, I thought that this album came out more like in the mid-70s, because the production on it is really excellent and it's really kind of ahead of its time. I really had trouble thinking of who else in 1971 was really doing a sound like this. And, you know, glam rock kind of can mean a bunch of different things to different people. I think on here where you hear that sound is in the songs are really melodic. There's a certain melodic nature to everything on here. They're very catchy. The guitar sound on here, Mark Bolan's guitar sound, is really kind of unique. And I've been trying to think of how to describe it. It's not like some kind of super distorted sound like you would be hearing from Hendrix or Cream, you know, in the late 60s. It has like a fuzz to it, not a super saturated distortion, and it has a real sort of dry, close sound to it. Like if they were miking an amplifier, it sounds like the microphone is right next to the amplifier. Maybe he even plugged directly into the soundboard. I'm not really sure, but it's a unique kind of guitar sound, and he kind of has his own unique style too. He's not a guy that's playing a lot of guitar solos in that sense, but he has sort of a very rhythmic way that he plays. The album is kind of mixed between the more electric stuff and the more acoustic stuff. And the acoustic stuff too, even the acoustic guitar has a unique kind of feel to it, sound to it. It sounds like the microphone is like right up against the guitar, so you can like really hear like his pick kind of going up and down the strings, or I don't know, it's hard to describe, but it's a unique sound. And the production on this record is really excellent, and there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of strings, and there's a French horn at one point and background vocals. So it's a really, really cool album to put headphones on to listen to. And Mark Bolan has an interesting, unique kind of style of singing too. He has a kind of a mid-rangey type of voice, but he never sounds like he's shouting. It's almost like he's sort of whispering, and I can understand how he was such a big celebrity and a pop icon, a heartbreaker, if you will. All the ladies, loved him because, as you saw in that picture there, and the way he sings too, he has this really like, just laid back, kind of like he's whispering, and he's really close up to the microphone when he sings. So it's just really cool, man. And this is an album that I really enjoyed and really dug getting into it. So it starts with the song Mambo Sun. Now the album is sort of, for me, there's like two things going on here. It's the electric, more upbeat, kind of funky things. This is another element to the T-Rex sound. There's this real strong melodicism, but there's also sort of this like groovy, funky nature. The percussion adds to that too. Mambo Sun is an example of that. It's got this like this feel to it. It's laid back, but it's still kind of funky, and it's got this kind of signature guitar thing that he does a lot, where he plays like the low note, but then like accents it on the upper strings. I'm Doctor Strange for you, and the drums. It's cool. The drums are just playing like a steady beat on the bass drum, but then there's like hand claps instead of a snare. At least that's what it sounds like to me, or some sort of percussion thing where the snare drum would normally be. So that's another kind of signature on this record. There's a lot of hand claps and different things that they do with the percussion. So this is a cool one. It's got these cool background vocals, these background vocal things that kind of come in and out. Next now is one of the mellow songs, Cosmic Dancer. It's got acoustic guitar in it. I was dancing when I was young. And again, it's that Mark Bolan sort of like whispering romantic style, the way he sings, really, really neat. It's got some really nice strings in it, and it's nice like cello part. Bum bum bum, don't bum bum. The strings sort of blend in and out, and I was dancing when I was young. Do ya go don't? The cello like playing sort of this lead line, and it's very sort of up front, which is really cool. It's got this reversed this guitar solo that comes in. It sounds like it was sort of a trick back then. Hendrix, I think, was one of the earlier, maybe the first guy to do this, where he would play a guitar solo and then they would take the tape and flip it around. So it sounds like the solo was going backwards. And there's that effect here on the guitar solo. Next up is Jeepster, and this is another upbeat, funky one with that like that kind of rhythm again that Mark Bolan does to a lot of this here, that real distinct guitar sound. It's really catchy. And I know over in the UK, there were a bunch of songs off this record that were a hit. And there's a clip you can see of them performing this song on one of the, like a TV show type of thing. And it's just awesome, man. It's got this funky rhythm to it. Girl, I'm just a Jeepster for your love. Just really, really catchy, and a really kind of interesting like chord progression to this sort of like descending chord line that's just really neat and sort of different, and in your standard sort of blues rock thing that was really going on at this time. Monolith, and here we are back to another mellow one. The album sort of flips between the two. You get your rocker and then you get a mellow one. This one has some really nice girl background vocals singing on these ahs, and it's got a neat wah-wah guitar line in it. Then it comes to Lean Woman Blues. I love the way this one starts when you hear Mark 1, 2, buckle my shoe, and then it goes into this sort of grinding, like slippery blues number. And for the most part, all over this record, he sings in that really like soft spoken kind of voice, romantic voice thing. But here he gets sort of a little gritty and dirty and goes into his upper range a little bit more. Then there's the biggest hit probably off this record, the one that everybody would recognize, Bang a Gong, Get It On. What can you say about this? It's got that rhythm again that I was talking about with Mark Bolan. Really catchy, really that sort of funky guitar riff, catchy chorus. Just a great song. Then Planet Queen. It's a slow, funky one. This is one that I really like. It's got an acoustic guitar in it, and I love this line in it, in the like chorus of the song. Well, it's all right. Love is what you want. Flying saucer, take me away. Give me your daughter. Take me away. Give me a daughter. It's just really neat. The lyrics on the record are kind of man, they're kind of trippy. A lot of the lyrics, you're not really exactly sure what he's talking about, but there's this element to a lot of it, a little bit of a spacey kind of sci-fi element. Cosmic Dancer had that vibe to it. You're never really 100% sure what he's singing about, but it's just really cool kind of word imageries. And in this one too, he goes into his upper range some, which is pretty cool. Then Girl, which is a mellow ballad. It's got acoustic guitar in it, and there's a French horn part in it. At least I think it's a French horn. It's either that or a trombone. They're both kind of a similar sound, but I think it's a French horn that's kind of playing along with him, playing the melody, but then playing these counter lines. And that's what makes this album really interesting to me. You've got strings, like I mentioned in Cosmic Dancer. You've got a French horn here in this song. You've got a lot of interesting background vocals that come in and out. So it's a very well produced record, and when you put headphones on, it's something that when you dig into it, you hear all these neat little things, and the way the guitar is mixed, and the different things that he does with the guitar tonally with the guitar. Like maybe he does something with a wah-wah pedal I mentioned in the one song. I forget which one there was one with the, he has like a wah-wah pedal, or he changes like the distortion sound on the guitar. So it just makes every song really interesting. Monolith was the one with the wah-wah guitar solo in it. All right, so then The Motivator. It's another funky one. It's heavy on the congas and the percussion, which is another interesting aspect of this album. Love the way you walk, the chorus in this is really cool. Then Life's a Gas. It's another acoustic kind of electric ballad. It's got this, again, here's the guitar again doing these interesting tonal things. It has like this effect on it that sounds like an octave or something, like there's two notes playing at the same time in a different range, and one's like really fuzzy. Kind of like it reminds me of in Paranoid, the guitar solo in Paranoid. It has that same effect on it by Black Sabbath there. And then the album ends with Rip Off, which is a percussion rocker, if you will. It's got an aggressive vocal here from Mark, maybe the most aggressive vocal thing on it. It even sounds like there's like a vocal effect on it to make it sound even more sort of gritty. It's got a really cool saxophone solo in it. So again, this sort of different element here to another song, a saxophone. So overall, really cool record, and I actually made a video of this like a week ago, but something happened with the microphone, and I had to redo it. And in the meantime, man, I just listened to this album over and over, and I just love it. It's just a really great, melodic, catchy record, very well produced, lots of stuff going on, but not in an over-the-top, distracting way. It's all about the songs. All the songs are really catchy, and I can see how this album sort of made people move in this direction, or some people wanting to go in this direction, this really melodic rock thing that you would see come in with Mott the Hoople or David Bowie doing some of this kind of thing, like during the Ziggy Stardust era. And sadly, Mark Bolan died in a car accident, but he would go on after this record to release a bunch of more records kind of along in this style. So just a great album. T-Rex, Electric Warrior, the beginning of glam rock. So okay, let me know in the comments what you think of this record. What do you think of glam rock in general? I have a soft spot in my heart for glam rock. I got into it with The Sweet and Desolation Boulevard. I love that album. I'm going to be doing something on that. So maybe that's why this also really appealed to me. I just love really catchy melodies and great hooks and everything, and I love it in this 70s vibe and the production and everything. So let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, and until we see you again, make sure you stay heavy, stay metal.